Welcome to this week's show. From political tensions to the future of tourism, we bring you the stories shaping the Balkans. I'm Nadia Muftic, and this is Across the Balkans. What began as a movement to protect Albania's natural treasures has evolved into the country's largest wave of civil protests in recent years. Thousands of demonstrators have been taking to the streets of Tirana almost daily since the beginning of June. They are calling for the resignation of top government officials and a change of government. Selin Esençay has more.
It is one of the last wild, unspoiled coastal frontiers in Europe. Albania's Sazan Island, near the Zvernik Peninsula, was designated a protected maritime sanctuary in 2010, home to over 2,000 rare species. But now, the missionary of high-end luxury global tourism has arrived.
Albania is not for sale. Albania belongs to the Albanian people.
A controversial law change in 2024 opened up these eco-reserves to strategic investors like Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who offered to buy the island to develop a luxury resort. This $4.6 billion transformation was sparked by a casual summer holiday.
We swam to the islands, we went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated, and it stayed with us ever since.
But critics say this paradise cannot survive a multi-billion-dollar concrete development. The sudden arrival of private security at Zvernik on May 30th triggered a violent flashpoint, turning a local environmental outcry into a nationwide uprising.
If you intervene in the lagoon, if you intervene by building beaches, by building small hotels as well, it's going to affect by losing the habitat and also creating lots of disturbance.
The Flamingo Revolution has morphed into a historic battle against political apathy, lack of transparency, and alleged backroom corruption in a country struggling with youth brain drain.
Totally too much corruption in the stealing the budget and not correct with the people who live here.
The country's Special Prosecution Office has launched a corruption investigation into the land deals, but Prime Minister Edi Rama insists the project is an economic blessing, even dismissing some of the demonstrators as stupid.
Nuk ka asnjë shans që investimi të ndalojë sa kohë do jem këtu.
For now, neither side appears willing to compromise. And as the protesters grow larger, a dispute over flamingos, beaches, and luxury villas is becoming the biggest challenge yet to Edi Rama's long rule. Selin Esençay, Across the Balkans.
How did the Flamingo Revolution become a political challenge from Prime Minister Edi Rama, and could it further shake Albania? We will discuss this in more detail with our correspondent in Tirana, Omer Saraci. The protests started over controversial tourism projects and coastal protection, but have now turned into calls for political change. Who are the people on the streets and what keeps them protesting?
What is interesting about this protest is the diversity of people taking part. You see environmental activists, students, professionals, retirees and local residents who were initially concerned about tourism developments and the impact that they could have on protected coastal areas. However, over time the movement has broadened beyond environmental issues, when protesters now describe their participation as a response to what they see as a lack of transparency, limited public consultation, and insufficient accountability from decision makers. What keeps them coming back is belief that this is no longer only about a specific project or stretch of coastline, but about having a meaningful voice in shaping the country's future.
Omer, Prime Minister Edi Rama's government is facing growing pressure. From what you see on the ground, could these protests grow into a serious political crisis?
At this stage, it could be premature to describe the situation as a full political crisis. But the protests have undoubtedly created additional pressure for the government. Their significance lies not only in the numbers of participants, but also in their persistence and ability to attract attention over an extended period. If the demonstrations continue to grow through support from broader segments of society, they could become the more significant political challenge. Much will depend on how the government responds. If authorities engage with protesters' concerns and create channels of dialogue, tensions may ease.
Omer, when you speak to people at the protests, what is their biggest concern? The fear of losing the country's natural areas, or the feeling that citizens no longer have enough influence over government decisions?
For many protesters, these two concerns are closely connected. The protection of natural areas was the issue that first brought many people into the streets, especially those worried about coastal development and environmental preservation. However, as the debates continue, a broader vessel frequently emerges. The feeling that citizens are not being sufficiently consulted on decisions that directly affect their communities and their life. Many participants say the debate is no longer about beaches, forests, and tourism projects. Instead, they see these environmental disputes as examples of a larger issue regarding transparency, accountability, and public participation in decision-making. While environmental protection remains an important motivation, a significant number of protesters have framed their demands around the desire for greater influence over policies and development plans that shape the country's future. Something that, according to many professors, is lacking in the current government and in the current political elite.
Omer, thank you. We will continue to follow this situation as it grows. Montenegro is counting on a strong tourism season, but unfinished roads, rising costs, and access problems are raising questions about whether the country can meet its goals. These challenges come as Montenegro seeks to establish itself as a luxury tourist destination. Here is the story.
Montenegro has entered the 2026 summer season with high expectations, positioning itself as one of the Adriatic's emerging luxury tourism destinations and as a hidden gem. It seeks to offer an attractive alternative to its neighbor Croatia, which has long been regarded as the premier luxury spot in the Balkans. However, industry leaders warn that infrastructure gaps, rising travel costs, and access challenges could hinder this ambition. In March, Wizz Air launched a new base at Podgorica Airport, expanding low-cost connectivity and strengthening links to key European markets. Despite improved air access, concerns remain about whether ground infrastructure can keep pace with growing demand.
Zaista očekujemo jako velike probleme u odvijanju ove sezone, jer mi ne možemo da izmislimo autoputeve, niti možemo da izmislimo bilo kakvi drugi oblik dolaska u Crnu Goru.
Challenges are widespread across the country as various infrastructure projects remain incomplete.
To kažem da pripreme idu uobičajenim tokom, očekivanja su velika, ali sa druge strane veliki su i izazovi sa kojima se susrećemo svaki dan. Kada kažem izazovi, to mislim prevashodno na odgovarajuću infrastrukturu koja je neophodna da bismo imali adekvatan priliv gostiju i to onog kvaliteta kakav Tivati zaslužuje. Dakle, govorimo o putnoj infrastrukturi, trenutnim radovima koji se izvode na bulevaru na potezu od Jaza do Tivta. Iskreno se nadamo da će ti radovi biti završeni kako je i obećano do početka ove ljetnje turističke sezone.
Tourism operators say these disruptions come at a critical moment as Montenegro tries to attract higher value visitors who expect seamless travel experiences.
Da vi u Crnoj Gori jedino avionom možete doći brzo i jednostavno, barem do aerodroma pa dalje što vam Bog da. Ako ne bude goriva ili ako stvarno toliko poskupi koliko najavljivaće poskupi, to može drastično da utiče na turističke tokove, na broj turista koji će da doći.
Beyond infrastructure, global fuel prices and rising transport costs continue to shape expectations for the season, raising concerns about affordability and demand. Manpower remains another pressing issue.
hotels and tourism businesses continue to rely heavily on seasonal recruitment and foreign workers to fill gaps during peak months, raising concerns about long-term sustainability and service quality in a market aiming for a higher-end profile.
Joining me now to discuss Montenegro's tourism in more detail is Simonida Kordić, Montenegro's Minister of Tourism. Hello and welcome to Across the Balkans. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hello, it's a pleasure to being with you.
Thank you. Minister, is Montenegro ready for the summer season?
I would say so. And actually, we have implemented certain policies that are actually not regarding the year as a series of seasons, but as rather one continuous tourism period. Some of the segments of it are obviously more intensive than the others, but we are working throughout the year continuously on preparation of certain activities and implementation, obviously, and monitoring. So I'd say that at any given time, more or less, we tend to be quite prepared. And so far, the season or the pre-season, as is commonly called, has started. And the data that we are receiving are really, really good and very encouraging in terms of the more intense period during summer months. We are witnessing increasing number of visitors coming from some of the, for us, newly opened markets. So we have a substantial increase from Far East, from China, also from the United States, and Western Europe, which is traditionally here and present, but this year is even more present in Montenegro than in previous periods.
The tourism sector has faced staff shortages for years and relies heavily on seasonal and foreign workers. Can Montenegro become a luxury destination without resolving this issue? What concrete steps are being taken to solve it?
Well, it is a global issue and a global question. I'm also the head of the Commission for Europe of UN Tourism, and when talking to my colleagues from other European countries, we are all facing the same challenges: shortage of labor, and also the question of education of labor, and stability of supply of labor, and also stability of employment for the workers. What we have so far done is we have implemented it's an institute of a permanent seasonal worker. This is a legal framework that allows the industry to have certainty in terms of hiring, and also for the workers to have certain employment under predetermined conditions. So this format works for both sides, and in the end actually enables the industry to work and operate seamlessly. When talking about luxury tourism today is not what it used to be 15 or 20 years ago. Nowadays, it very much relies, apart from the facilities that need to be at a certain level, it also relies on authenticity of service and experience. So in order to achieve that, we are also paying a lot of attention on education and making sure that foreign workers that are welcome to Montenegro fit in well, and we try to implement new measures to enable them to learn about the culture and even language, which is sometimes not that easy, in order to actually in the end have a service that is of a very high quality.
Geopolitical tensions and conflicts in different parts of the world are influencing travel patterns. Are you seeing Montenegro becoming a preferred choice for travelers seeking a safe and stable European destination?
Yes, in fact, Montenegro was just now, actually in April, ranked the number one tourist destination in Europe. And this is based on the impressions of tourists themselves and on the evaluation of the quality of tourist product. This is actually done by the European Travel Commission. So we are actually on the path to create a format whereby Montenegro is recognized as a quality destination. So we are a very small country, obviously, and we need to manage tourism very carefully. It is the biggest industry in Montenegro. It contributes by 30%, 30, to our overall BDP. So you can imagine how important the industry is, and we have to make sure that what we provide is not going to overcome or overwhelm our physical potentials, but on the other hand, to provide the experience that tourists expect. We are concentrating very heavily on providing authentic experience. We are not going to do the, one size fits all sort of thing, but we are making sure that the service, the products, the facilities are of a high quality. When mentioning high quality, I mean in terms of stars, 4 to 5 star facilities as a general standard. Obviously, there are other facilities as well, but this is what is even now the standard in Montenegro. But we are even more aiming towards providing that sort of experience. Obviously, we are not non-wise, so we're not going to put all the eggs in one basket. So there are options for other guests as well who tend to prefer more budget travels. We have a number of air connections provided by the low-cost carriers, and obviously the options of experiences and facilities that are still quality, but not as expensive, I would say.
Minister, while many Mediterranean destinations are struggling with over-tourism, Montenegro still has room to grow. How do you plan to increase visitor numbers while preserving the authenticity and natural beauty the country is known for?
Exactly. Montenegro currently has a very developed south. So our coastline is very developed in terms of tourism. And actually, it contributes by more than 90% in our overall tourist transactions in terms of the economic transactions. However, the rest of Montenegro is stunningly beautiful and not as developed. Keeping that in mind, we are actually intensifying our efforts in quality investments in the northern part of the country and the central region as well. These actually, we're not doing it just because we want to develop the country, which we do, but also that correlates with the interests of contemporary tourists. They really like to experience the untouched nature, the authentic way of life, the so-called zero-kilometer cuisine, with which we are really well endowed. And that's something that we want to share with our guests, but also we want to, by investing in these regions, to actually upgrade the economic potentials and economic sustainability of these areas. We are talking mostly rural areas, which by developing tourism, we are providing a whole new industry for the rural areas to participate in. They already do it. They already do it very, very successfully. 4 years ago, we had 56 registered agricultural homesteads as tourist facilities. Now, today, we have 367. So there is a considerable growth there, and corresponded with the increasing interest from our visitors.
Minister, luxury tourism today is about much more than just 5-star hotels. What does Montenegro offer to the travelers that they cannot find in more established destinations such as Monaco, Santorini, or Dubrovnik?
Well, I will be very selfish and say that we are even better. But more than that, Montenegro is, as I said, a very, very small country. It takes you about maximum 3 hours to drive from one end of the country to the other. But in this small space, we have 5 national parks, we have 2 UNESCO protected areas, we have 5 skiing resorts, we have a number of luxury resorts and luxury hotels by the Mediterranean.
Perfect. Minister, thank you so much for being our guest in Across the Balkans.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
A series of snap elections that failed to produce a political agreement between rival parties has left Kosovo facing prolonged political uncertainty. For the Serbian community in Kosovo, the choice is limited to just 2 political lists, one backed by Belgrade and the other by Pristina. While politicians compete for seats in parliament, many residents in northern Kosovo, where Serbs from the majority, are quietly leaving, searching for better opportunities and a more stable future elsewhere. Zoran Kosanovic reports from North Mitrovica.
Welcome to reality could be a message to the Serbs in northern Kosovo, who for years were convinced they lived in a country where the regime in Belgrade, not in Pristina, was in power. Until a few years ago, the part of Kosovo did not recognize a single institution from Pristina, and most people worked in Serbian institutions that remained in Kosovo even after the declaration of independence in 2008. After such a life, reality has changed in recent years. Of the Serbian institutions, only health and education remained. The government in Pristina is taking over one institution at a time and closing down Serbian institutions that it calls illegal. The reality is that Serbs are increasingly leaving Kosovo.
Manje više svaka porodica u Mitrovici sada kad pijete kafu, razgovarate, znači manje više razmišlja pitanje gde će otići, kako će otići, znači jer su dosta i ustanova integrisalo i nasilno integrisalo i su zatvorene. I znači bukvalno je ovo neka vrsta čekaonice. Nažalost, Severno Kosovo i srpska zajednica je u nekoj vrsti limba ili čekaonice, šta će se dalje desiti, znači kakav će biti to pritisak od strane kosovske vlasti i znači da li ćemo moći da se snađemo, jer sve teže i teže, znači ovo je bukvalno u svakom ono kao talasi napada, u svakom napadu pogine još neko. To je tako mi, jedni su otpali za lične karte, jedni zbog bezbednosti, neko je uhapšene i ono ljudi sad samo jedan po jedan odlaze i to vidite po broju studenta, po broju đaka, po poslovima, biznisu.
The authorities in Pristina reject accusations that they discriminate against Serbs in the north. Local media reported Prime Minister Albin Kurti saying that in Mitrovica, all citizens of Kosovo live together and freely regardless of ethnicity, adding that they include Albanians, Serbs, Bosniaks, Roma, Turks and others. Kosovo is a democratic state that does not discriminate against anyone and treats everyone equally, Kurti said. The part of Kosovo with a Serbian population in 4 municipalities is separated from the Albanian majority by the Ibar River. Since the end of the war in Kosovo in 1999, the bridge in the city center has been closed to traffic.
Bridges usually bring people together, but this bridge became a symbol of division. It separates the Albanian south and the Serbian north of the city. Fewer and fewer people live there. There are no official numbers, but it's believed that North Mitrovica has lost about 1/3 of its population.
Research by non-governmental organizations also confirms that Serbs are leaving Kosovo.
65% ispitanika izjavilo da je neko iz njihovog okruženja otišao da živi. Problem je još veći kada se vidi na južnoj strani, znači južno od Ibra, je duplo veći broj koji imaju ta saznanja nego u odnosu na sever, što naravno nije ništa da je situacija da je malo bolja. Još jedan problem je takođe u našem istraživanju koji se provlači je taj da je 80 i nešto posto tih ljudi uključuje i decu. Znači, mi faktički dobijemo jedan podatak da su čitave porodice, pa i čitave generacije otišle.
The main reasons for leaving are no surprise, as they are similar to other countries.
je uglavnom ekonomske prirode. Taj nije uglavnom, ali je najveći procenat toga. Znači, ne mogu da se zaposle. Ljudi uglavnom na Kosovu traže posao u javnom sektoru koji pripada sistemu Republike Srbije. To je jedan od glavnih razloga.
What is different are the political reasons, instability and inter-ethnic mistrust, and the feeling that the Serbs have been betrayed by their mother country.
Srbi na Kosovu su zamorčići, Srbi na Kosovu su predmet dogovora Beograda i Prištine, naravno i Evropske unije. I mi smo ni u jednom trenutku nismo bili relevantni stranu u tim razgovorima, nego smo bili neki koji smo bili na stolu u Briselu. I sve što nam se dešava je proizvod dogovora sve tri strane. Nije moglo samo od sebe da se desi, jer da Srbija nema ništa protiv toga što Kurti radi, pa našla bi načina da to spreči. Mogla bi da uvede politiku reciprociteta i Kurti bi morao da stane. Sve ovo što se dešavalo liči na sprovođenje Ohridskog sporazuma i na gašenje preostalih srpskih institucija, odnosno poklanjanje Srba kosovskom sistemu. Nažalost, veza s Srbijom se svela samo isključivo na plate, koji su se nekad zarazivale tako što su ljudi radili u institucijama, a sada ti ljudi sede kući i primaju iste te plate.
The Ohrid Agreement was agreed between Serbia and Kosovo in March 2023 in Ohrid, North Macedonia, with the mediation of the EU. For the international community, especially the EU and the USA, that agreement represents the basic framework for the normalization of relations between Belgrade and Pristina, while for the Serbs in Kosovo it clearly represents the beginning of the end of life under the Serbian system in Kosovo. Zoran Kosanović, Across the Balkans, North Mitrovica, Kosovo.
Thank you for watching Across the Balkans. You can follow our stories on social media and TRT World's YouTube channel. That is all from the team for this week. I'm Nađa Muftić, and we hope to see you next time.